Okay, so guys, you can watch the video in the link below, so you can see how we can transform the features from a low dimensional space to a higher dimensional space for the points to be linearly separable. So how we're banding the space in different directions to solve this problem and turn an nonlinear classification problem into a linear classification problem. So how is this done mathematically? So if you remember, this is what we got for the Lagrangian when we had the dual Lagrangian when solving the support vector machine classification problem. And the key idea here is in the second step, once we find the good phi, okay, the good candidate mapping function, we simply need to map it to basically use the dot product between the mapped features, xi and x feature like basically the mapped samples, right? Xi and xj, and the transformed, what we call the transformed or the mapped space. Okay, so it's just, you know, this simple operation that we need to do. So this is what we call feature transformation. So if you transform the features into this space where everything is linearly separable, you can simply use the regular linear SVM. So that's the main idea. However, there are two main issues for in solving this problem. So first is, how can we find phi, right? Finding the explicit form of phi or the best phi that will enable this transformation is not very straightforward. Like, you know, computing it so we can define the dot product between them, it's not straightforward. So can we like use, for example, Gaussian function, or I don't know, like polynomial? We don't know what phi looks like, right? So there is a big space of search and we don't know where to start generally. So it's very difficult to find the explicit form of phi, okay, the transformation function. The second thing is, here what we have, imagine for example if we have a quadratic polynomial or like a function with a worse time complexity, then computing the dot product between the transformed features, okay, is more time consuming than just computing the simple dot product between features or samples in the original space, because you need to transform, and to transform you might need to do multiple multiplications and additions. So it's more time consuming to do this, okay, depending on how your phi looks like. So to circumvent these issues, there was the idea of what we call the kernel trick that was introduced. And this is basically, since we're computing what we call a dot product that measures the similarity between transformed transformed points, okay, or mapped points, then what we care about is finding the similarity. We don't need to find the explicit form of phi. And this was the genius idea of defining what we call a kernel function or a similarity function, that you give it basically your samples, xi and xj, okay, and it computes their similarity, how similar they are. So the basic kernel function is xi transpose xj, and this is what we call the linear kernel. Like, it's the simplest form of computing a similarity between samples. And here you can just replace this whole thing, right, with k xi xj, right? So this is, you know, right here, we can just, you know, replace this with k xi xj. And that's it. And defining a similarity function, like a similarity measure between two samples, that's not difficult. We have many potential kernels that we can use. So after doing that, after having defined the kernel function, you guys can notice that we don't need to compute the phi. This does not depend on the phi anymore, right? Like, we're not using the phi. So we can define it directly, okay, in such a way that the dot product between some transforming functions, it gives us that similarity. But all we care about is the direct value of the similarity, not the explicit form of phi. And the second one is that basically k, the kernel k, it defines an inner products in the transformed space, or the similarity between samples in the mapped space. And this is a more generalization of the concept of inner products or dot products between samples. Okay, so it can kernels can work on graphs, on trees, on like surfaces, on anything. So there are like more general mathematical tools to use to compute the similarity between two vectors xi and xj. Okay, so there are many kernels that we can potentially use to encode this similarity, hoping that choosing the right kernel will give us the best, separation in this high dimensional space between these samples. So there are different candidate kernels. The first, I'm just giving you very few examples. So this is a linear kernel, for example, based on the inner product. We have the polynomial kernel. So it's a dot product between two samples plus b and exponent p. So, and we have also what we call the popular RBF, or radial basis functions, the Gaussian kernel, that enables us to quantify the similarity between 2 points too, okay, but within a specific bandwidth sigma, right? So remember how the Gaussian kernel looks like. So, this is basically a very large standard deviation, and this is a narrower standard deviation, and actually this changes the similarity we're computing between two different points. So the sigma matters a lot in this case, okay? So since we are in machine learning, just to give you an idea, or maybe ask you a question. So imagine if you have different points, right? So for example, let's say in this case we have some points like this, right? And then we want to transform them into a space using the Gaussian kernel with a specific sigma. So k depends on sigma in such a way, I'm just creating a synthetic figure, in such a way that in this higher dimensional space, they become linearly separable by this hyperplane, okay? Now, the key question here, what is the key question? That how can we choose the sigma, right? Because you might have many kernels. You don't know if you're using a kernel that looks like this, or a narrower kernel will give you a better transformation, right? So you have a large, number of sigmas to try, and you're hoping by trying all those possible values that sigma can take, you will find the perfect sigma, right? That will give you the best transformation for this linear separation to happen. Because if the transformation is not good, you're going to have a lot of mistakes right around, okay? So you won't have a good, linear separation between these two. So how can we find the sigma? Any ideas, guys? Remember, in machine learning, what do? We learn, and we can learn almost anything. Okay, so this is a parameter of our model that we want to what? We want to optimize to increase the separability between these two sets, right? So ultimately, we can formulate this as an optimization problem where we're minimizing some magical loss function that we define in such a way that we're finding the optimal sigma. And this is a whole field called Kernel Learning. And actually, you can use multiple kernels. So this is called not just a single, multiple kernel learning, which means you can map to this space using not just one sigma, like you can maybe map using 2 kernels or 3 kernels. So you're learning multiple best mappings, okay, or kernels that enable you to separate these. Okay, so this is just, between brackets, to give you an idea about how machine learning goes on and how we keep on building and expanding things into and turning them into learning models and learning problems. So basically we say that properly designed features or transformed features for linear classification provide good nonlinear separation in the original space, but at the same time these also provide good linear separation in the transformed space. So this is the phi function, the mapping function that we're looking for.